All right, good morning, everyone. Here's some updates and news we have here on the crash at Reagan National Airport in D.C. A passenger jet ended up hitting a military helicopter. Here's some of the news we have on that.
The way this happened is there's a visual corridor. There's two types of rules in aviation. There's visual and there's instrument. The helicopter was on a visual flight plan, and there's a corridor, a designated corridor that goes right down the eastern edge of the Potomac at 200 feet and below. Under visual rules, the aircraft under visual rules, in this case the military helicopter, is responsible for separation through visual means. Now, that said, because of its proximity to the airport, it's also required to check in with the airport. So the tower knew where the helicopter was, and I'm sure that they were speaking to the helicopter. The jetliner, on the other hand, is on an instrument flight path, and it's controlled the entire time. And it's doing a designated approach into the airport. Now, when they use runway 33, that's a runway that lands to the northwest, which means it approaches from the southeast. When it does that, it needs to go over the southeast. It takes it right over to the eastern edge of the Potomac, which is right where I just told you is the visual corridor for the helicopter.
Right.
And that helicopter is to maintain below 200 feet. And they're saying that that's just about where they impacted at about 150 to 200 feet.
Okay, so this is what we have on it. Officials said there were no survivors after the regional jet and military helicopter collided Wednesday evening over the Potomac River. Washington Fire and EMS Chief John Donnelly said Thursday morning at a press conference that operations were being switched from a rescue mission to a recovery mission. About 60 people were believed to be on the American Airlines flight that collided with a UH-60 Black Hawk on its final approach to Ronald Reagan National Airport in Alexandria, Virginia, just before 9 p.m. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from the accident, and we have recovered 27 people from the plane and one from the helicopter, Donnelly said. American Airlines said the flight was en route from Wichita, Kansas. About 300 emergency responders conducted a multi-agency search and rescue operation. President Trump said in the statement issued late Wednesday, argued the crash should have been prevented. He noted that it was a clear night in Washington and questioned why the control tower didn't tell the helicopter there was a plane approaching. That's an interesting point. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy echoed those remarks during the press conference. He was asked about Trump's comments and said absolutely the crash could have been prevented. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom shared his condolences and said the company's focus is on supporting those who are involved or related to the crash, including the staff at the time. It was said some of the U.S.'s Olympic figure skating team were on the plane and were lost in the crash. The Relief Valve podcast reached out to the FAA for additional comment on recovery efforts and to find out how exactly this incident happened and if more could have been done to be avoided. And here's a response we got from their PR.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.